Golden State is the team that, going into free agency was thought to be one of the leaders because, his desire to play with Stephen Curry, his desire to play with Draymond Green, they're close. And by the way, breaking news here, I don't know if it is breaking news, LeBron James and Draymond Green are spending some time here together this week.
LeBron James and I, we're on teams and we won. So in the spirit of winning, the winning has already started, guys.
LeBron James' own agent went on national television and said there were no pitches, but the question he answered wasn't exactly the same one that most people thought they were hearing. Rich Paul handles conversations with teams. He doesn't control what happens during a private round of golf. By that point, one of the NBA's biggest personalities had already spent several days with LeBron. No front office, no formal meeting. Just time together on the golf course. Then Draymond Green appeared on camera and openly talked about it. He didn't brush it off or act like it never happened. Instead, he calmly confirmed the situation without looking uncomfortable for a second. But pay close attention to what comes next. He tells you the conversation happened. He tells you how much time he had. He even says he believes he's pretty good at making his case. Then, he suddenly stops. He never explains exactly what he said to LeBron James. And right at the end, he refuses to finish a sentence about how anyone even found out about it. One of the loudest voices in basketball suddenly choosing silence. That alone gets people asking questions. But before any of that, why was he even there in the first place? The answer had already been sitting on video about 15 seconds before the story started making headlines.
Golden State is the team that, going into free agency was thought to be one of the leaders because his desire to play with Stephen Curry, his desire to play with Draymond Green, they're close. And by the way, breaking news here.
That sounded like the motivation before anyone even knew where the story would go. At that point, many believed Golden State had a real chance, not because of salary cap flexibility, but because of two familiar faces, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. The Warriors' strongest selling point wasn't paperwork, it was relationships. And one of those relationships had several days of private access to the player everyone was watching.
I don't know if it is breaking news. LeBron James and Draymond Green are spending some time here together this week.
The report itself was careful. It presented the information while also leaving room for uncertainty, but it still aired because of what it suggested. Shams Charania, ESPN's senior NBA insider, reports on the behind-the-scenes side of the league, the conversations, the meetings, and the details most fans never get to see. That was the information he shared. There wasn't a trade. There wasn't a signing. There were simply two people spending time together at a location that wasn't publicly identified. Even so, the report immediately grabbed attention. The setting itself became part of the story. Then LeBron's agent appeared on television and the discussion only grew louder.
Well, no, we're just evaluating everything.
Are you still taking pitches actively?
Pitches? No.
He repeats the word before answering it. Pitch. That tiny pause matters. Then comes the response. No pitches. That short clip spread everywhere online. But what many people missed was that it ended about 20 seconds too soon.
Pitches, I don't know about pitches, but listen, I think there's communication from players directly to him, and obviously I handle it from an organization perspective.
That's where things become more interesting. Rich Paul wasn't necessarily denying every possible conversation. He was drawing a clear line. Team business goes through him. Personal relationships go directly to LeBron. On national television, he explained that those are two different paths. What he didn't say was who might be using that second path. Later, Draymond addressed it in his own way. But before doing that, he first challenged the reporting itself.
Undisclosed location. I don't know if I can just...
Listen, I don't have problems with Shams. I think he's great at what he does. I think sometimes things steps a little outside the scope of work, and reporting whereabouts, I think, is a little outside of the scope of work.
That wasn't simply criticism. It sounded more like a public boundary being set between a player and a reporter. Then he shifts the focus. His issue wasn't just that people reported the story. It was that they knew where it happened. That reaction made some people wonder whether the trip was expected to stay completely private.
The reason being is, obviously, Brian, that's my brother. We've built quite the relationship. And so I think us hanging out, or us kicking it together, us golfing together, whatever it is, I don't think it's really that newsworthy because it's not like, oh my God, they've never hung out before. And now all of a sudden free agency is going on and they're hanging out.
To be fair, that's a reasonable point, and it carries weight. The original report could have left some people with the impression that the meeting had been organized for recruiting purposes. Draymond pushed back against that idea. According to him, the golf trip came first, long before any free agency questions entered the picture. But that creates another question. If the friendship is completely normal, then maybe the access is normal too. And that's exactly where the debate really begins. And if that kind of access is completely normal, then nobody should be surprised that he used it. Draymond wasn't trying to defend himself at this point. He was clearing away the confusion before telling his side of the story.
It's actually the complete opposite. It's pretty common, very common, you know. And so I thought, when I saw that, I was on an airplane. I was like, come on, man. But I am a firm believer in get your money how you get your money.
He later explained that he was on a plane when he first saw the reports. Suddenly, what had been a relaxing weekend had turned into a national headline. His first reaction sounded tired more than anything else, but after that, his focus changed. He didn't say the report was false. Instead, he suggested that stories like this attract attention because people want to read them. That matters. By responding that way, he wasn't denying the meeting happened. The conversation then shifted to what actually took place during that time together. And that's when he spoke openly.
Us being brothers, I'd be remiss if I don't take the opportunity to throw my pitch in there. You know, I'd be crazy if we're together for X amount of days and at no point am I like, yo, we need to chop it up. Like, what the hell going on? What we doing? And so there's that. Of course I did that. And of course, the pitch was crazy.
Draymond publicly acknowledged that he tried to recruit one of the biggest names in basketball during those private days together. He didn't minimize it or act embarrassed. In fact, he said he would have been crazy not to make his case. It didn't sound like someone admitting a mistake. It sounded like someone who believed he simply took advantage of an opportunity. Think back to the earlier discussion. Many people believed Golden State's biggest advantage came from LeBron's reported interest in playing alongside Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. That idea had been discussed for days. Now people were hearing directly from one of the players involved, but notice what he actually gives the audience and what he doesn't. He confirms there was a recruiting conversation. He says they had several days together instead of just a quick meeting. He shares his opinion that it would have been crazy not to bring it up. But one thing is missing. He never reveals the actual words he used with LeBron. That's an important difference.
Like, since I think I'm pretty decent at it. Does it change anything? Does it make anything happen? I don't know. I hope so. With the things that I shared in it, I believe it definitely is going to make the brain work a little bit.
This is where online speculation often takes over, but it's worth separating confirmed facts from personal opinions. Draymond never claimed his conversation changed LeBron's thinking. Instead, he made it clear he was sharing what he believed. He begins by saying, "I don't know," before later saying, "I believe." Those are opinions, not confirmations. One small phrase stands out more than almost anything else: the things that I shared in it. Notice the word things. That suggests there were multiple points he wanted to make during the conversation. What those points were remains unknown. He never explains them publicly, and any claims filling in those blanks are simply speculation. Then he makes another interesting point. He tries to make the recruiting conversation sound smaller.
You know, if I don't think there's a decision that's been made, but say if there was, it'll make you think twice about it, you know? And so that's that. But we wasn't going to hang out for a recruitment pitch.
But listen carefully to the wording. He doesn't say no decision existed. He says he doesn't think there was already a decision. That's not exactly the same thing. And when he explains the trip, he isn't denying that recruiting happened. He's saying recruiting wasn't the reason the trip happened in the first place. That distinction changes the entire conversation. His explanation depends on the friendship coming first and the basketball discussion coming later. In that version of events, the golf trip wasn't organized around recruiting. The recruiting simply happened because two longtime friends were already spending time together.
LeBron James and I, we're on teams and we won. So in the spirit of winning, the winning has already started, guys. And that was the trip. It was nice, great golf, and we were the winning team. That's what we do.
Then he talks about the golf itself. He says they were partners. He says they won. On the surface, it's just a story about a round of golf, but the words stand out. He talks about teams. He talks about winning. It's the same kind of language basketball fans hear all season long. Whether that was intentional or not is open to interpretation, but it's easy to see why people noticed it. One thing, though, never changes. The timeline points to several days together, a golf course, two longtime friends, one facing one of the biggest decisions in basketball, and the other openly admitting he made his recruiting pitch while he had the chance.
And the leading suitors have been Cleveland, Miami, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Minnesota.
That naturally led people to wonder what the other teams competing for LeBron had to overcome. 5 teams, 5 front offices, executives putting together presentations, making phone calls, and working through Rich Paul. Meanwhile, one player had something nobody else could match. Several days on a golf course with LeBron James, away from conference rooms and official schedules. Every other team followed the formal process through the organization. Draymond focused on the person making the decision.
Players have also reached out to LeBron James to recruit him, and yes, all the voice notes have also been listened to.
Around the league, players reached out in different ways. Some sent voice notes, others sent text messages or made phone calls. That's all part of recruiting. But spending several days together is a very different kind of opportunity, and that's what made this situation stand out.
As LeBron James has made it clear privately that he wants to go somewhere where he can compete for a championship, somewhere where he feels like he finds that happiness from a team environment and culture that he feels he can uplift.
Think about what LeBron has often spoken about over the years: winning, happiness, the right environment, strong culture. Those ideas have always mattered. Now listen again to how Draymond described the golf trip. Winning teams, that's what we do. Notice what he's emphasizing. He isn't talking about contracts or salary figures. He's talking about an experience. He's describing what it's like to be part of a winning group. Whether that message influenced anything is impossible to know, but it's easy to understand why people found it interesting, especially when the conversation happened face-to-face over several days. Now think about Rich Paul's role in all of this.
Finds these things out. I really have no idea how he finds these things out. I did not tell him that, but he found it out.
The agent says, no pitches. The friend says, of course I pitched him. At first, those statements sound like they can't both be true, but they can, depending on what each person is talking about. Rich Paul oversees the formal side of free agency. He handles conversations with teams, organizes meetings, and manages the official process. What he doesn't manage are private friendships. Draymond didn't need to schedule an appointment through a front office. He didn't need permission to spend time with someone he already knew. That's the kind of access that naturally draws attention because very few people have it. And that brings the focus back to the one question he never fully answered.
Maybe Sham's report was great. But I also be like, man, how the hell does he find this stuff out? And I have an inkling on how Shams finds this stuff out. I have an inkling. But, you know, I'm going to keep that to myself. I think some things are better left unsaid.
He repeats the same words several times, then suddenly stops. Think about what he openly shared. He admitted there was recruiting. He admitted they spent several days together. He even said he believed his pitch was a strong one. None of that seemed difficult for him to discuss. But one thing stayed completely private. He never revealed exactly what he told LeBron James. And when the conversation turned to how the story became public, he left that thought unfinished too. For someone known for speaking his mind, those moments of silence stand out. Here's what can be confirmed. Draymond Green spent several days with LeBron James while free agency speculation surrounded one of the biggest decisions in basketball. He has publicly acknowledged making his recruiting pitch, and he believes he made a strong case. Beyond that, the details remain private. Whether any part of that conversation affected LeBron's thinking has never been publicly confirmed. Only the people who were there know exactly what was said, and neither has shared those details. If you think Draymond already revealed more than most players would, hit the like button. If you think there's still more to the story, and you'd like to hear what was actually said during those conversations, let everyone know in the comments. And if you enjoy the stories that go beyond the headlines, make sure to subscribe.